Caitlin Clark, let it be known, she does not like this Stephanie White offense, how these players in the WNBA don't even know where to move or how to move or where to cut. And that leads to a lot of her turnovers. And she also states how much she misses Lisa Bluder. And I think all of us Indiana Fever Caitlin Clark fans prefer if Lisa Bluder was the head coach of the Indiana.
The whispers have turned into a roar. Caitlin Clark, the rookie phenom single-handedly rewriting the future of the WNBA, has quietly declared a cold war on her own team's philosophy. It started subtly, with on-court frustrations and sideline glances, but now it's out in the open. In a candid moment, she openly called out the lack of sophisticated movement from her teammates, a direct shot at the coaching and system, and then she dropped the bombshell. She spoke of her former college coach, Lisa Bluder, with a longing that sounded less like nostalgia and more like a desperate plea for rescue. This isn't just a player adjusting to the pros. This is a basketball genius trapped in a system that doesn't speak her language, and the rift between Clark's vision and the WNBA's reality is threatening to tear the Indiana Fever apart.
I mean, what's going on here? And I'm sorry, but if Stephanie White's supposed to be this all-world coach, you're not going to show up to a game against the Phoenix Mercury with DeWanna Bonner playing on the other side after what she did to the Indiana Fever franchise, and you show up there and somehow the team is lifeless? Sophie Cunningham coming back to Phoenix and the team is lifeless? That is the coach.
To understand the depth of this conflict, you have to journey back to the two distinct worlds of Caitlin Clark. First, there was the basketball utopia of Iowa. Under Lisa Bluder, the court was Clark's canvas. Bluder, a coaching visionary, didn't give Clark a restrictive playbook. She handed her the keys to a billion-dollar basketball enterprise and said, "It's yours now. Go make it sparkle." The offense was a breathtaking spectacle of motion, spacing, and empowerment. It was often a 5-out system, with 4 or 5 capable shooters on the floor at all times, creating vast open lanes for Clark to dissect defenses with either a logo 3 or a laser-guided pass. Bluder's practices were a laboratory for offensive brilliance. She trusted Clark implicitly, understanding that a generational talent cannot be shackled.
Sums up why I can't stand Stephanie White as a basketball coach for Caitlin Clark. I don't think that Stephanie White is a bad coach. Don't get it twisted. She's not a bad coach at all. I just don't think she's the right coach for Caitlin Clark. So let's take a listen to this right here. This was on the podcast with Super 8.
But I think that's even been something me and Steph have always talk about when we go and watch film, and even that New York game where I played really, really well. Obviously scored a lot of points. I think I had 9 assists or 10 assists that game.
She was a rebound and assist off a 32-point triple-double. And is the only reason her team's in the game.
Now contrast that with the stark reality of the Indiana Fever and the Stephanie White School of Basketball. If Iowa was a Formula 1 race car, the Fever's offense often feels like a sensible beige minivan stuck in a school zone. It's not that Stephanie White is a fundamentally bad coach, but her philosophy feels like a relic from a bygone era of basketball. The system is rigid, predictable, and suffocated by an overwhelming fear of mistakes. Players move to designated spots, not to open spaces. The creativity is systematically drained in favor of safe, low-percentage post-ups and telegraphed passes. The whiplash for Clark must be psychologically jarring, like a virtuoso musician being told to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star after selling out Carnegie Hall.
Man, it's just going to be interesting to see her come back and see this team fully go full circle around their set leader, and I'm still banking on it being Caitlin Clark. Without Caitlin Clark, they had 19 in the one game and 16 in their previous game without CeCe even playing.
My precious CeCe, she was upset. She didn't say nothing, no smiling, walked off, not looking at no cameras. I'm talking about, you can tell it's all on her face. She got it in her mind. But look, I need y'all to understand. That was so embarrassing and pathetic, and the teamwork was not there. But I remember Jordan had got hurt his second year. He didn't come back into playoffs, and that playoff series was legendary. scored 63 points in one game, but he still lost, though.
This philosophical chasm erupted for all the world to see during a critical game against the New York Liberty. Clark was in the midst of a masterpiece, a one-woman offensive inferno. She was hitting deep threes, threading impossible passes, and was on track for another historic triple-double. The only reason her team was even in the game, then, in the heat of the fourth quarter, she tried to make two aggressive, game-altering plays that resulted in turnovers. In a system that valued winning, it would have been a footnote. In Stephanie White's system, it was treated as a capital crime. In a decision that still echoes with absurdity, Clark was unceremoniously yanked from the game, benched. In the most crucial moments of the contest, the team's only hope, its best player, was sent to a folding chair to think about what she'd done.
The Stephanie White offense compared to what she was doing at Iowa when she took over the world. Let's take a look.
At the college, like it was very similar. Like all I would attack, like we're known to have like 5 shooters on the floor at all time. Like we played with really good floor spacing, and at Iowa it was the same way. Like 4 people were on the floor that could shoot at the same time. Then obviously we usually played with a true post, but they rarely missed too. Like Mon never missed. Like Hannah Stolke was tremendous when I was there too, and even our backup post players. Like I always think about like how Coach Bluder like ran practices and things, and like I'm very fortunate looking back and like now going to like watch other colleges' practices and things like that. Like she really like was so intentional about like making sure everyone was on the same.
That single coaching decision is a perfect microcosm of the problem. Lisa Bluder's entire philosophy is built on empowerment and psychological fortitude. She understood that you don't build a player's confidence by punishing them for every imperfection. You build it by letting them fail, learn, and grow stronger on the court in real time. The prevailing WNBA orthodoxy, however, seems to be a culture of fear. It's don't make a mistake basketball, where coaches are more terrified of an adventurous pass leading to a turnover than they are inspired by the possibility of it leading to a game-winning play. It's a philosophy that guarantees mediocrity and suffocates the very excitement the league needs to survive.
In over 10 years, and Caitlin Clark has something to do with that, man. They was 8-5 with Caitlin. At the end of the day, no matter how many games they win, they lost more games without Caitlin Clark playing. Like, so everybody argument that Caitlin Clark is the Achilles heel, Caitlin Clark is this and that, your argument is obsolete, bro. They will forever have that notion on their, that blemish on there. Now, if they would have won more games, lost less, then you might have had something.
Still lost, though. But at the end of the day, he fought. And you could tell that he missed being away from the game. So I can see my precious CC coming back doing her thing for the playoffs. I just want her to be 100% healthy at the end of the day. If Stephanie White gonna keep jeopardizing.
This exposes a critical deficit in the WNBA, a profound lack of innovative, high-level basketball IQ on the sidelines. The NBA went through this revolution years ago, when coaches like Mike D'Antoni and Steve Kerr realized that giving creative players freedom wasn't chaos, it was the future. The WNBA, it seems, hasn't gotten the memo. There is a generation of college coaches like Lisa Bluder who have a masterful understanding of the modern pace and space game. They know how to build systems that amplify talent, not contain it. Instead, the pro league seems to be dominated by a coaching philosophy that feels outdated and ill-equipped for a modern superstar.
Indiana Fever fans, so let's keep it real, let's keep it 100 like I'm being frank, you hear me? So let me ask y'all again, is Stephanie White a good coach, a great coach? I'm waiting. No, she not even close. If anything, she puts a star in the offense. She's sucking the life out of the team, out of the franchise. And Kelly Krostoff, whatever her name is, Lynn Dunn, you hear me? They all need to go.
This problem is exacerbated by the league's unspoken and deeply maddening obsession with veteran hierarchy. There's a quiet code that dictates playing time. A 10-year veteran can go 2 for 11 from the field, look lost on defense, and actively hinder ball movement, but her spot in the rotation is sacrosanct because she's paid her dues. Yet, a generational rookie phenom, the very person selling out every arena and shattering viewership records, tries one creative high-risk pass that gets tipped, and she's immediately given a front-row seat on the bench. It's a nonsensical backward system that prioritizes tenure over transcendent talent, and it's creating a ceiling on the league's potential.
Stephanie White, Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White remains fully confident in her team following Thursday's deflating loss. The veteran coach sent a clear message. It was a 35-point ass drubbing. It was deliverance and Ned Beatty. Anybody seen that? Squeal like a pig? Yeah. The Phoenix Mercury bleeped the shit out of the Indiana Fever last.
To put it in the simplest terms, Stephanie White's offense feels like doing your taxes. It is a long, arduous, and complicated process full of rigid steps and confusing instructions, and by the end of it, nobody is happy. Every possession feels telegraphed. A slow walk up the court, a forced entry pass into a crowded lane, a contested mid-range jumper as the shot clock expires. It's basketball by numbers, and the sum is always boredom. This approach completely misunderstands what makes Caitlin Clark a weapon of mass destruction. Her genius is her unpredictability. White's system is trying to make her predictable. If you're as frustrated by this stifling offense as Clark seems to be, hit that like button and tell me in the comments if you think a coaching change is needed.
In the post-game press conference, Caitlin Clark Stephanie White made sure to give out about Caitlin Clark not passing the ball to Dantas. Like, we've seen Damiris Dantas play. She can't shoot. Why would Caitlin Clark pass the ball on an all-time heater to Dantas?
This last game this year. I started the fourth quarter off with like 3 turnovers in a row or 2 turnovers in a row, and Steph yanked me, and she was like this is like a learning moment. Like, you got to be able to, like, yes, like maybe it could have been there, like maybe you could have thrown a little bit better of a pass, maybe they could have caught it, but like, do we need that in this moment?
Let's dismantle the utterly absurd notion that this restrictive coaching is about protecting Caitlin Clark from her own mistakes. Protect her from what? Exactly? From trying to... They market her as a gunslinger, plastering her logo shots all over social media, and then get angry when she fires the then. You can't have it both ways. This is the same player who thrived in the most hostile arenas in college basketball. She doesn't need protection, she needs trust. A turnover for a high IQ player is not just a mistake, it's a data point. She learns from it instantly. Benching her doesn't teach her anything, it just tells her that her instincts are wrong, and that she should stop trying.
Lisa Bluder always made sure people knew what they were going to do, aka she made sure people knew their role. Everybody knew their role, and that is the problem with the Indiana Fever and the bullcrap that Caitlin Clark deals with now. We got Natasha Howard coming in talking about she wanted to win MVP. Red flag. Red flag. We got Caitlin Clark, and you're talking about joining this team and winning MVP. She didn't know her role. Didn't know her role. That is the difference. We got a bunch of people on this team that do not know and understand their role.
While this drama is unfolding most publicly in Indiana, it's a symptom of a league-wide sickness. This is not just an indictment of one coach, but of a coaching culture that seems fundamentally unprepared for a talent of this magnitude. The WNBA has been given a gift, a player who can single-handedly change the financial and cultural trajectory of the entire sport. But instead of recognizing this gift, some seem to view her as a problem to be managed, a force to be contained. We have years of videotape as evidence. We saw Caitlin Clark, unleashed and free at Iowa, playing a brand of basketball that was pure art. Now we are watching that artist being told to paint by numbers.
Today, Stephanie White has a clear conundrum on her hands, and she needs to figure out a solution to this problem before it's too little, too late. When Caitlin Clark was out with injury, Natasha Howard played well. Natasha Howard played well enough that kept us afloat along with Ari McDonald, along with Kelsey Mitchell, but Natasha Howard wasn't nearly as much of a hinder to the offense with Caitlin Clark.
The solution is staring the league right in the face, even if it requires a dose of humility. Hire coaches who build their systems around the unique talents of their players, not coaches who force their players into pre-existing, one-size-fits-all boxes. Let Caitlin Clark run. Let her orchestrate, and yes, let her make mistakes, because her mistakes are more interesting and lead to more growth than most players' safe successes. The WNBA doesn't need another perfectly executed but ultimately pointless swing pass. It needs more jaw-dropping, logic-defying moments that make people talk for days. Caitlin Clark is the WNBA's golden ticket, a winning lottery number that can change everything. But if the league continues to let rigid, fearful coaching philosophies clip her wings, they risk turning that golden ticket into a crumpled up receipt, a sad reminder of the greatness they were too afraid to embrace.